Okay, so some people ask me about rice, and it's a good idea to talk about rice because a lot of the run-of-the-mill rices are in short supply down at your local shops. But there's one that you're almost certain to find, and it only really appeared on the market a few years ago. You didn't really see it in this country much before then, and that is short-grained brown rice. Close relative of risotto, but also of sushi rice. Some of them are Japanese and some of them are Italian, but they tend to behave in the same way. It's not cheap, so if you do find a packet, it's worth buying because actually a little goes a long way. And just to illustrate that, once again, our trusty glass, those of you that joined me last time will remember, our trusty 125ml glass made all this rice. Okay, so I pre-cooked it and let it cool. And then I do these kind of dishes I call savoury rice. They're sort of comfort food. They're really nice family dishes. They're really easy to make once you've got all the ingredients in place. Here's how to pre-cook the rice then. Don't forget, we're using 125ml, if you're going visual, or grams on a scale, of the short grain brown rice. To that I'm going to add 4 times the amount of water. So 500ml of cold water to this amount of rice. I'm going to heat everything up really, really slowly. Rice is best if you cook it the whole way on a low heat. Once that water has reached a simmering point, I'm going to add a stock cube. Now this just deepens the flavour ever so slightly, and it doesn't matter if you don't have any handy. At the moment I really love this mushroom stock cube from Calo. The cooking then, nice and gentle and no need to stir. Just give the pan a nudge every now and again until the rice is ready. So I'm starting with a base of spring onion and carrot this time, ginger and garlic, which I've chopped up, not too finely, but just enough so that it's all sort of even sized. I've heated a very wide bottom pan. I want a wide bottom pan for this dish. Heated it up with a little bit of a mild oil. And once again, those of you that were with me last time, you may remember, we're after the sweat. So I will add the equivalent of a tablespoon of water, removing the jeopardy, knowing that my little sweat is not going to burn. It doesn't matter whether the pan has a lid or not, but I am going to take the heat right down again. Leave everything in there to get along with each other. If you have a lid, feel free to pop it on, and then you can really take the heat right down. Okay, so that base of vegetables is nice and soft now. And again, you can see not brown, not burnt. And so I'm going to start to add the other vegetables. Now this part is really, really flexible. You can use kind of whatever you've got in. It's nice if you can add a bit of colour. So just randomly, I found a yellow courgette down at the shops today, so I'm going to add that. It's just diced up as small as you can really, but don't worry, if you don't fancy dicing things up finely, just chop them. Mushrooms, that's just button mushrooms, something I am never without. Frozen peas are just great. And then I'm going to keep my heat really low and just pop that lid back on there. Don't worry if you don't have a lid. The flavourings. Now, got to warn you that when you start this, it looks really unpromising. In fact, it looks kind of grim. Okay, so I'm going to work with tablespoons. Let's say 3 tablespoons of everything. So 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Okay, now this is tomato juice or passata, but you could also use tomato puree. If you're using tomato puree, obviously you don't need the tablespoons, you just need teaspoons or so. You can see what I mean now by this just not looking amazing. Okay. Sugar, just a little bit though, like a pinch of sugar. I just want a tiny, teeny touch of sweetness to everything. And then we're going to come back to our old friend, the glass, I do have a measuring jug. Well, you can see I've got a measuring jug. I love this glass though, my trusty 125ml glass. What I have now here is this sort of flavour water. It will concentrate as it cooks down, and as I say, it's not going to win any prizes for beauty. Okay, but then neither am I. Okay, so I'm going to add the ugly water, and now I can wing the heat back up because we're not far from the end of the dish. Okay, that's the other lovely thing about this little combination of vegetables. They're all quite fast cooking. As soon as they've sort of softened, they're ready to roll. What I'm looking for next is the liquid coming to a bit of a simmering point. I can hear it, and hopefully you can see it. As soon as that happens, I'm going to add the rice. Now don't forget, the rice is cooked. So we're now working on high heat for the rest of the dish. Just gonna scatter that rice through everything else. And stir it in. Working nice and gently, because don't forget it's ready. So that rice is tender. I don't really want to agitate anything too much anymore, because rice will start to smush up if you move it around too much once it's cooked. Which is one reason why, if you're trying to create a dish like this, you don't want to do it with freshly cooked rice, because that really will be too tender. Once it's had a little bit of time chilling either in the fridge or just sitting out on the worktop, you find it's much more amenable. Okay. Everything's pretty much where I want it to be. Now all I'm going to look for is that liquid kind of disappearing. It's going to take a minute or two at the most. Because I put garlic and ginger and spring onion in the base of this dish, I'm going to stick with the kind of oriental theme. This is just a little coriander. Parsley would be good. Dill is really good. And no herbs is absolutely fine. Off comes the heat. In go my herbs. Just give everything a quick stir around. And there we have it. It's got a lovely kind of colour to it. It's deep and savoury. It's really, really simple. It's kind of comfort food. And you could add to this if you wanted. If you were going to have some tofu around, you could throw that in there. Could serve it with a fried egg on top. I've been there, done that. It's just a really nice, simple, straightforward thing to sit and eat from a bowl in front of the telly. Savoury rice.